Hey everybody, what's up? And thanks for stopping by the Cranks. Once again, I'm Larry, and I just watched Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. An original film that I originally thought was going to be a theatrical release, but later got scooped up by Netflix after its showing at the Sundance Film Festival. Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile is the story of infamous serial killer Ted Bundy, told to us through the eyes of director Joe Berlinger, who also directed Conversations with a Killer, the Ted Bundy tapes, that you can also find here on Netflix if you're interested in such a thing, and who's also brought to us an incountable amount of other documentaries over the years, and stars Lily Collins, Caius Godelario, Haley Joel Osment, and Zac Efron. The film begins in Seattle in 1969 when the then law student Ted meets Liz, an attractive young girl that would be his obsession until his very end. The relationship taking place during a time in which young women were being attacked and murdered with an alarming regularity around King County, Utah by a man described only as charming with a cast on his arm, who would lure women to his car and follows Bundy and his 30 known murders throughout Utah, Colorado, and Florida between 1974 and 1978. Furthermore, the multiple arrests, including his escapes, which is something I actually didn't know about. I never knew this guy escaped prison twice. 2 times they let him go. And the last time is when he actually went and murdered some sorority girls in Florida. It's just crazy. But anyways, it goes across the country, and eventually we get the first ever televised courtroom frenzy revolving around him and his murders, told to us through the eyes of Elizabeth Kloepfer, now Kindle, based on her book, The Phantom Prince, My Life with Ted Bundy, which documents her years with Ted Bundy, her denial as well as guilt, also just how charismatic, charming, along with just how remarkably convincing the psychopath could be. I thought this movie really it held its own compared to a lot of movies in this genre, which there really isn't a lot to compare it to, so really don't take my word for that. But it really excels mostly due to the acting, and is showing us just how deceiving someone of this nature can really be. Zac Efron, who goes from playing frat boys to the killer of sorority girls, here gives an audacious performance, embodying the allure of Bundy as he used his own knowledge of the court system to propel himself from serial killer to celebrity, and whose trial attracted lots of attention from women from around the country who journeyed to Florida just to catch a glimpse of this man. That, coupled with the writing by Liz Kendall and Michael Reary, at times, as crazy as this may sound, you actually second guess his innocence many times throughout this film. The film here goes extremely up close and personal and puts you right in the shoes of Liz, played here by Lily Collins, who also does another excellent job conveying Kloepfer, a single mother and dismayed woman who struggles with the denial and the guilt, second-guessing herself throughout this film as to what if she had done something wrong, leading the police to the man she loved after a routine traffic stop. What if Ted really was just another guy in a Volkswagen that didn't commit all of these heinous acts he's accused of? Moreover, how Bundy makes her believe this all the way until the bitter end, affecting her life and her relationships with other people. There is a moment in this movie, and it's at the very end, something that when Liz and Ted are talking about at the end, something that if you've seen the movie, you'll understand. If you haven't, you won't until you see the movie. But they're talking about something that Ted did to one of his victims, and Liz is asking him, "What did you do to this girl? What did you do to this girl?" Well, afterwards, I actually did a little research on this, and what I found out really gives claim to the name of this movie, because what he did to this girl is just completely ununderstandable. All I can say is it has something to do with incineration in Liz's fireplace. The one thing Ted Bundy, even all these murders, after all these murders, the one thing he said he didn't think Liz could ever forgive him for. The movie also stars Caius Godelario, who is unrecognizable as Carol Ann Boone, another victim of Bundy's charisma and the woman who married Bundy while he was in prison from 1980 to 1986, having one child. Looking here more like Barb from Stranger Things, Scodell Ario also gives us another good portrayal. But the acting here is not where this movie falls into problems. Where this movie falls into problems is with the story. Unfortunately, at times, the movie just felt too much like a documentary. It's a by-the-book story that doesn't take too many risks, instead opting to stick 100% with the source material, which would have been fine, but it doesn't take the time to build exactly what made Bundy so crazy to begin with. There's no backstory into his earlier life, his thought process, or what drove him throughout these murders. We also never see any of these murders, or even him preparing to commit any of the murders, which has me wondering if that was something that maybe had been cut out to make it more acceptable for a larger audience, even though it is still rated R. So I don't understand why they would have done that. The closest we can get to a scene like that here is where he's initially arrested and charged, where he has a bag in his car with some items used to, like rope and bags, used to kidnap the women. We never see a single victim or get any insight into them or into the police investigation or operations, things in which I feel could have really boosted the pacing of this narrative to the story, which runs almost 2 hours, at 110 minutes to be exact. And honestly, it felt much longer. After that initial first act where Ted and Liz and they start to build their relationship, we just get courtroom drama. It goes from courtroom moments mixed with Ted trying to call Liz from prison, Ted trying to convince her, and honestly himself, of his innocence, back to Liz at home feeling guilty, unable to move on, back to more court, and it plays out like this on repeat for the majority of the second and third act, which started to put me to sleep. But all in all, this really isn't a bad film, guys. I was really surprised by Efron and his charismatic performance. It led me through most of these rough patches, making myself deliberate his guilt and keeping me interested enough in a story I really already know the ending to, being able to keep my attention and watching all the way till the end. I just wish they would have delved a little deeper into the mind of Bundy, the how and why and what motivated Bundy to become so evil and vile to begin with. I'll give Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile a B-. And I have to say, if you are not a fan of Zac Efron, this may be the movie that could change your mind on that. Me personally, I never really was. But now I'm kind of swaying, saying he did such an excellent job with this movie. Maybe there's more to him than meets the eye. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming out and checking out my review of Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. I do appreciate it, and if you like this video, hit that subscribe button right there. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are up now, and they're doing pretty good, I think. I know Facebook, we got like 382 followers now. So follow us on there and check it out. And don't forget, like I said, subscribe. It always helps. And that's about all I got. Until next time, guys. See ya.